Hi guys, welcome back. So in this video we're gonna go over the Cad A1 Cad A1 example, I guess the A example, the first example. So we need to create a model, of course, which is this model over here. We need to create an A3 template of it, one-to-one drawing. All three views must be shown. Only the diameter 16 hole must be dimensioned. And we need to add the ISO symbol, tolerance table, etc. We are not adding any parts list or isometric or any other views necessary. They are not necessary. So let's go ahead and start off with this thing. So there's many ways you can go about it. You can start off with this bottom base plate and then construct afterwards. You can go ahead and do this little thing over here. What I would prefer to do actually is to start off with this and then just flip it to its side and continue with the base after that. So we can start off with this, which is a length of 22. It's a diameter 22 and a hole of 16. So we can just go ahead and create two circles of 16 and 22. Okay, and then we can extrude this there we go, in 22 millimeters backwards and in both directions. Okay, and there we already have that little piece over there. We can chamfer this. We know that it's a chamfer of 1, and so is it that end? Okay, as we can see here, it's a chamfer of 1 millimeter. The next thing we need to do is we need to create these angled planes to this. Obviously it's a tangent to that at those points, and it needs to be 100 degrees away from the horizontal. So what we can do is, we also know that at the point at which they intersect, it's a height of 61 to the base. So what we can do is, actually, let's create a plane, just do mid plane between these two planes. There we go. And we can create a new sketch on here. Okay. Let's take a point and just place it over there. We can dimension this point from here. This must be 61. Okay. And then we can take a line, just place it over like that. So now we already have that. We know that this distance, this line is the line we placed, is basically this line over here. So just be a little bit more accurate, let's just place another line over there. Okay, and then just dimension this to there as 6 millimeters. Okay, now what we can do is we can place, let's do project geometry to this circle over here. Okay, place 2 lines like that. And we can make these a tangent to this and this a tangent to that. Okay, now we can dimension to there, that should be 100. Okay, and from here to here, that should be 100 as well. Okay, so there we already have those things. What we can do now is we can extrude that little section over there. We know it is a diameter of 6, right? Sorry, not diameter, width of 6. So if we go here, extrude, just click on that, we say a width of 6 millimeters. There we go. Okay, so we can hide this. So there we have that piece created already. Now what I meant in the beginning is flip it to its side. It's easier to create the space now. You can see we just do that and we can create a plane over here. So a new sketch on here, project geometry, okay, and now we can go ahead and create this space. So we know that from the center of this hole to the center of that hole is 72 millimeters. We know that this is a radius of 12, so 12 plus 12 is 24, and then 24 plus 72 is 96. So this entire base should be 96 millimeters. We also know that from this distance, the distance between these two edges is 44 millimeters, and the distance from the center of this hole to the edge is 22 millimeters. So what we can do is just create, we know this should be, oh my bad, let's just create something like that, and then we can constrain it to that center and constrain this to that center as, oops, we can constrain this to the center of this here. So there we go. Okay, now we know that this distance should be 96 and this distance should be 44. Okay, so there we have our base plate. We can extrude this. This was a thickness, just do that quickly, and this was a thickness of, they tell us 6 millimeters as well. Okay, so now we already have this piece looking like that, right? What we can do now is we can go ahead and get our curves. So let's just create a new sketch on here and project geometry. Okay, we had a circle here which is in line with that, obviously. And okay, let's just, to practice something, let's just do one circle. So we know that the diameter of this is 24, right? What we can do is, let's do this. So we can dimension that as 24, make it a tangent to that circle, and then I'm sure this is already constrained. Let's just make sure that the circle is constrained. There we go. Okay, so we have this piece of information, like, I mean, this circle created, right? We can now, let's just create a straight line through the middle, and we can mirror this object over the mirror line. There we go. Okay, what we want to do now, sorry about that, what we want to do now is we want to, this distance is obviously 12, right? We know that if we can actually break this object into half. So let me just go back here quickly and remove that for now. Let's take a point. So in line with this, place a point over there, and then we'll place another point somewhere along there. Okay. This dimension first, let's constrain this point to the center, and we can dimension this point to that point as being 6 millimeters. Alright, now we also know that from here we can draw a line there, okay, and we can make this a tangent to the circle like that. Okay, now all of this, let me just trim this quickly so you guys can see. So all of this is going to be taken away, right? We can now do this as well. Let's just draw a straight line through there, okay, and we can mirror this line over there, and so we have that point as well, right? What we can do now is mirror this again, but along this axis, and mirror, and we mirror 1, 2, 3 along the mirror line, apply, and done. So now we have this entire thing over here. So we can go ahead and let's just remove all of this stuff. Okay, just remove. Okay, that's fine for now. And now we can extrude everything. Let's just that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and extrude, or well, cut out everything. So let's choose this one, this one, this one, that edge, and just cut through all. Okay, and so there we have our base plate created. There are other ways you can do this. I just find this to be easier. Obviously, as you're following along, it will take a bit of time because we're still speaking and things like that. But this should be more or less faster as you just do it. So if we measure, this should be 12 millimeters, that should be 44. Obviously we still have to create a hole, but if you want to measure, just some additional information, if you want to measure on your keyboard, just press M and the measuring tab will come open. You can click on whatever you wish to measure. That's just a little bit extra information there. Now we need to create these two holes over here. So we can create the first one. This is an isometric hole. So a diameter of 8, thread of 1.25, and a tolerance of 6. So if we go back here, we can create a new sketch on here. Project geometry. Okay, and let's go create a hole. So we want the isometric. Let's just tap on that. There should be isometric profile. The size, there should be 8. Am I correct? Let me just see there. 8 by 1.25. Okay, so there should be 8 by 1.25, right? So we just click on there and click on there, and that should be the hole created, right? As you can see, it's like a screw surface basically. So that's most of it done. So now we just have to do the the ribs over here, and we need to do the small little hole on top. So first let's create the hole on top. It's a distance of 6 millimeters and a diameter of 3, but it's only through the first surface of the hole. It doesn't go right through. So if we go here, we can create a plane on the surface, right? Just create something obviously like that. So there you can see, right? Let's create a new sketch on here, and let's take a point, place a point somewhere there. Just project geometry again. Okay, and we can dimension this point from this outer edge as 6 millimeters, and then we just create a hole, a normal hole obviously, of 3 millimeters. Alright, not through all. Let's just take it a distance of, just want to see. So it will only go through this first surface over here. Let's say it will go a distance of, just pull this up quickly. There we go. So that should be fine. If we have a look, so there's the hole over there, and if you look from the bottom, it goes through there but doesn't penetrate this bottom part of it. Okay, so since that is done, now we can create the ribs, right? I almost forgot, there is a fillet on these edges over here. As you can see over here, it's radius 1. So let's go ahead and do that. So fillet of radius 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, there's the 4 fillets, and so that is most of the model done. We need to create the ribs now. So we know that the ribs is a height of 25 from there. So let's say it is 31 from the bottom, from this bottom, because this is 6. So if we go to the bottom, okay, there we go. Oh, this was so much easier. Let's do that. So if we have a look at this, okay, it's in the midpoint already. So we can create a new sketch on here. Alright, project geometry. Alright, let's take a point and place it over here somewhere. And we can dimension that as 25 from the horizontal. Alright, so from this point, we can create a line over here. Just want to see, yeah, okay, to that edge. Okay, and we can just make sure, just create a straight line out, and we can dimension here to here, that should be 120. Okay, so just create a line first, and then we can take a line from this point, just plot it over there, and then we can dimension this to that as 120. I think it should be 120, yeah, 120. And there we go. So now that we have this piece created, let's just trim out these extra pieces, so that and that. Okay, and now we can create the rib, which should be this one, 4 millimeters, right? And there we have our rib created. Okay, then if we just do a mirror effect of this is individual feature, right? Just want to see which plane this is quickly. It should be on that one. Let's just open. There we go. Okay, so for those of you that might not understand what happened there, you basically just need to open this plane, right? So let's just make it visible, and then you just click on mirror, right? Mirror individual feature, that's what it says there. And then you just click on the feature itself, then you click mirror plane, and you click on the plane itself, and it will mirror this object there. And so that is the that is your entire model created. Okay,